3HL 1045, The Zone. Brent Doherty with Ron Slay. Got a little Lenny Kravitz.
Zeph loves this song.
I love Lenny Kravitz.
Week. Yeah, this is him and Quavo?
Yep.
Yeah,
it's their remix
Zeph
for college
loves
football.
this, man. I'm telling you.
What's the name of that Lenny Kravitz record that was so great? It was one of his last ones.
Josh Ward's a Lenny Kravitz guy. I guarantee he knows.
Josh, you remember?
I don't remember the album. I mean, there's Fly Away, the song. I don't know if that was related to the album title, but Fly Away was a huge hit from Lenny.
The record that he had, like I'll find it, but the big record.
Are You Gonna Go My Way?
Yes, all that stuff. Yes, he played every instrument on that record.
Mm-hmm.
Every instrument on every song on that record.
Are You Gonna Go My Way? There you go.
That's all you got for
Josh. Hey, Josh, I love you, brother. Never do that again.
I was jamming. Yeah, it was like a cliffhanger for me. I
had something there.
Some more. I wanted more, Josh.
I thought it was a group effort. I thought you guys were picking it up from there. I was setting it up. Yeah, I was running point for you guys. Sorry.
Who sings Are You Gonna Go My Way, Josh?
Lenny Kravitz, and we're going to keep it that way.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Let's keep it that way. Josh Ward joins us from the Sports Animal Tennessee playing, Josh, maybe the worst team to walk into Neyland Stadium since when? I don't know.
They're up there. The point spread is comparable to when Tennessee hosts FCS teams, and I've heard that if you put Kent State against a bunch of FCS teams, that they would favor those FCS teams head to head. I mean, they're coming off a loss to St. Francis from up in Pennsylvania. So among FBS opponents to come into Neyland Stadium, Kent State, from what we've seen so far, what they've been since the start of last year, they're among the worst. So this is a tune-up opportunity for the Vols before next week against Oklahoma.
By the way, Kent State was a 17.5-point favorite over St. Francis.
That line was off.
That line was off.
All right, so where do we start? What does Tennessee hope to get out of this?
I think it's similar to the opener against Chattanooga in that Tennessee wants to go out there, play clean, play well, offensively, move the football down the field without much trouble, like they did against Chattanooga 2 weeks ago, put points on the board, get guys work, and then get guys off the field. We'll see how much guys play, guys that have maybe been limping around on the offensive line. If you think about some of the scrimmages in August, we were talking about this earlier, there were some guys that they got them out of there quickly because they wanted to make sure that they were healthy. Guys have now played a couple of games and played as easy as it looked last week. They were still hitting against a power conference, top 25 at the time, team. So make sure those guys are ready for Oklahoma. We already know on the defensive line, guys aren't going to play a lot of snaps anyway. So get a big lead early, get them off the field, get Nico off the field probably by halftime before the start of the third quarter, and then get as many guys work as possible before you head into SEC play next week.
Well, when you get these guys some work possible, who's somebody you want to see? Guys like Mike Matthews, Cam Seldon coming back. Who are you most interested in as far as getting that extra work, Josh, if you can put a name on it?
Yeah, those are two names I would have said. Seldon, because he's coming back from a reported head injury. So missing last week's game didn't have anything to do with the labrum issue he dealt with during the offseason. So getting Seldon some hits out there on the field, get him some work in the backfield, because he's likely their second running back moving forward like he was in the opener. So Seldon for sure. Mike Matthews, I believe we're going to see. Fans have been asking, where is he? And I don't expect Matthews is going to be a part of the receiver rotation immediately just because he might be back and playing this week. But him and Staley, the other freshman, they like a lot. It's just that the receiver group is deep. Right. They have some older players who have proven they belong on the field. They're in a really good position. It's much better than a year ago, as we've discussed here a few times, I think, at this point. But really all the freshmen. So Gaston Moore and Jake Merklinger, get them more work, just like they did in the Chattanooga game. And then I don't know that it's going to matter for this season, but the freshman offensive lineman, the young offensive lineman that we've heard the coaches really believe in and think that they've signed some good players that will help in the future. The veteran offensive lineman that they're counting on right now will mostly be gone next year. So as many freshmen as you can play, because you can play in up to 4 games and still redshirt. So coaches circle games. Hey, we have some games. We want to get guys some work, even if they're redshirting this year. This is absolutely one of those games.
All right, when you look on the defensive side, defense has been playing lights out. We all been hearing about them being able to stay fresh, the snap count. Do we look back on this with Oklahoma right around the corner and think of it as Chattanooga when we got to see James Pierce felt like 2 snaps, or are they going to play them sparingly again? What would be your thought process going in as far as this defensive line goes?
Same deal. I'm not playing more than 10 to 15 snaps with the starters out there. You just don't need to. So I'm not worried what kind of stats James Pierce Jr. is able to put up. Has no effect in my mind if I'm the coaching staff on what we're going to be able to do moving forward. It's more important to have Pierce and Josephs and everybody ready to go for the Oklahoma game and everything that Tennessee's about to face in SEC play. Tennessee will be the better team, the favorite in a lot of the SEC games coming up, but that's because they have all those guys. So making sure they're ready. But again, young guys, so I really focus more on offensive guys when you ask for names. They're young defenders that they can get more work in this game coming up. So Bradley on the edge, Spillman at linebacker, if they feel like he's good to go. He's a freshman that they really like what his future is going to be, the way that he plays. Jalen Smith, I think, showed up and showed that, hey, he's got that speed as a second-year linebacker. So they've got some young defensive backs that need to get some work out there as well. So you're emptying the sideline and getting those veteran players. Keenan Peely doesn't need to play more than 10 to 15 snaps at the most in this game.
It'll be interesting to see how all that is handled. Josh Ward from the Sports Animal in Knoxville joins us every Friday. More on Tennessee's defense against North Carolina State. Josh, 50 plays, 143 total yards for North Carolina State. 28 of the 143 came on a trick play. 27 yards of total offense in the second half. When we talk to people in the sports betting world, they've changed their value on Tennessee. They've changed their power numbers on Tennessee because of the defensive play is being better than they thought coming into the season. It's been amazing. I don't think Josh Heupel's surprised, but based on what we talked with him about at SEC Media Days. But man, they're flying to the football.
Yeah, Tennessee has gone from playoff contender, the way that it was talked about a month ago during the month of August, of hey, this is a team that things could go right and get in the playoff, and there's a long way to go. A lot of games that have to be played for them to still get there. But now the talk has turned to, they might be a title contender, not favorite. That's still Georgia and Texas and Ohio State, I think. But Tennessee is then kind of in that next group of the challengers to that top 3 or 4 that people believe in most strongly. So that's because of the defensive line. That's because of the play up front. When they see Keenan Peely hit the way that he did, you heard about him, what he might be able to do and how they've improved that front. And a lot of it's the defensive line, the rotation. And when we talk about the rotation, we talk about the number of players. They have real NFL guys up front, too. James Pierce Jr. is the top prospect. I think Norman Lott might be the next guy off the board, but Thomas and Eason and Tyree West is making a name for himself in that kind of conversation. They have difference makers up front. That's the difference in the conversation around Tennessee compared to a month ago, certainly a year or two ago.
Another element to that point, you see the line against Oklahoma was Oklahoma 2.5, 3.5 last a couple of weeks ago. It is now Tennessee by 3.5 on the look ahead line for next week. That's going to be, I know we'll talk about it next Friday, but Josh Heupel going back to Oklahoma and all of that goes along with that. They make it a night game on ABC at 6:30. That's going to be an incredible environment.
Yeah, we have, I don't even know what his title is, a betting analyst, handicapper, whatever might be the case, last Friday said, hey, if Oklahoma's favored against Tennessee, that'll be my biggest wager of the year. And he came back on today and I asked him, and he said, yeah, actually, I went ahead and put some action on that when Tennessee was the underdog and still probably would as the favorite as that line has flipped because the wrong team was favored at the time. And Oklahoma actually has a real game. They have a real game against Tulane this weekend. And Oklahoma already went into the season with offensive line questions. That is an even bigger question, I think, projecting to next weekend. And Tennessee's defensive line is as good, maybe better, than we talked about it being at the start of the season. So that makes sense with the shift that we're seeing. And Tennessee is going to go in, dialed in. You never know. We'll talk next week about the road environment and everything that Norman brings, because it's not going to be easy to go there and win. But if Tennessee brings its A game or close to it, then Tennessee should be the better team than Oklahoma because of the play up front that we're talking about here.
Josh Ward, sports animal in Knoxville. Josh, thanks, man. Tennessee, Kent State. Tomorrow at 6:45, you can catch it right here on 104.5 The Zone. Slay's got one more.
Josh, let me ask you this, man. I love having you on and you being up there in the city. I got to check the barometer. Where's the craziness on a scale 1 to 10? What level is craziness right now with Vol Nation up there?
It's elite crazy. So
it's 5-star crazy. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So we talked about on Josh and Swain maybe middle of the week some of the concerns, Ron, that you expressed on 3HL about Earth and the universal future if Tennessee wins a football national championship. And I can back that up with what's being said in Knoxville. And we brought it up, and we had people text the show, message the show saying, Slay is on point. Everybody better be ready if we do this here. And last week when we were talking about the NC State game, remember I thought Tennessee was going to win the game, but I was a little more conservative in my score prediction.
Right.
Not everybody else. Everybody else last week said Tennessee's going to put up 50 plus. They're going to hang 50 on NC State. Then it happened. So Monday, everybody said, "We told you it was going to happen. We're coming for the national title." So they're at an elite, crazy level of anticipation of what this Tennessee football team can do in Knoxville.
Josh, you want to know what I did last night? I texted Slay. I said I moved Tennessee up to 59.5 in bet.
It's him, baby. Craziness has arrived.
Tennessee might retire a lot of people this year because if you're going alternate lines and you believe like they've covered by 20 plus points in each of the first two games. So again, I'm not offering advice there, but there are opportunities to really cash in if this team becomes what a lot of people believe that it will be.
What was the stat? It's like Tennessee hasn't started the season with 3 50-point games in a row since 1913, something like that. And they only had one 50-point game last year, and they're probably going to go 3 for 3. Is the rain supposed to push out?
I think so. I was looking at it a little bit ago. So at the early middle part of the week, everybody was afraid of what the weather was going to do, and I guess still monitor it. But yeah, I think a little scattered action, but we should be good for tomorrow.
Slay hadn't been worried about it all week.
No, man.
Weatherman Slay says it's going to push out.
I keep on checking it. They, like what Josh said, it's going to be scattered, I think, from somewhere like 3 to 6, and it's going to be little pop-up showers. But when game time
That's because Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Vols bring the storm. The storm doesn't come to Knoxville.
Josh. Yes,
The Tennessee Vols bring the storm.
See, you've like. Let me tell you something. I looked at your scouting report. I've done the scouting report on you before. I know you. You go back, watch film, and you learn from your mistakes you made the week before. You won't make them again, and that's a good sign of a player that loves to be coached and loves to do his work, Josh. That's what I love.
I watch, I listen, I pay attention. I try to be a quick learner.
I mean, last week he came at us with 28-20 Tennessee over North Carolina State, and then you coached him up in the moment.
I've been booed enough. I've been booed off the airwaves enough. I learned quickly.
I love it. Thanks, Josh. See you, man.
My bad. Can I ask one more question? I got one more question for you, Josh.
Do anything you want. It's a Friday.
I know. That's what I love about it. Bouncing around the SEC, who's in more trouble right now? South Carolina with Beamer, or Mark Stoops, Kentucky, or Billy Napier down in Florida, if things were to go a little haywire and go downhill?
Yeah, more trouble. I guess my immediate answer has to be Florida, though. I kind of like the Gators this weekend. Let's see what happens. If I'm wrong on this one, then I've been burning, then that's just it. I don't see how Billy Napier can come back from being 0-2 in the big game. So that's probably my immediate response. But the way that Kentucky looked last week, and the offseason with Stoops maybe trying to get out of there, and then he doesn't, so he's back, and the NIL concerns, that might actually be my answer. Beamer's response last week was impressive. I was impressed by that one.
Big game for Beamer this weekend. See if they can pull the upset again. They're a 6.5-point underdog again. That's what they were last week.
Yep. I'm riding. I'm riding with Beamer and the boys.
Listen, to Josh's point about Florida, I was doing some investigating on that matchup. Texas A&M is bad against the run. So Montrell Johnson, if he goes off,
they can go off.
And here's the thing, like for Billy Napier, like the best way for Billy Napier to keep his job is to go away from Graham Mertz and hope that DJ Lagway is good enough as a five-star quarterback freshman that he's good enough to steal some games that we didn't think Florida would win before the season began. That's his only chance. I don't know why he's starting Mertz, but my guess is this could be the transition to Lagway Saturday. So.
I will add this before I run is that you asked how Knoxville's doing, how's the fan base doing? It's at an elite level crazy. I stand by that. We did get a couple of messages during the week of, oh no, is DJ Lagway going to come up here and be the next backup quarterback from Florida that ruins everything for us? So there's still a little bit of that hanging out among the Tennessee fans.
But that Battervall syndrome is a real thing.
I'll get them together by the time we play Florida.
Thank you, Josh. Way to throw that little nugget out there.
Thanks, guys.
There he is. He's Josh Ward. You can check him out on the Sports Animal in Knoxville with Jason Swain at Josh_Ward.
Yeah, man.